Hello everyone, myself Prithvi Goel D203
and myself Keshu Mittal D232.
We are first year BTech CSEDS student from NMIMS and in this video we are here to present our part of OOPS Java assignment. Arrays are one of the most basic yet powerful concepts in programming. Even though they are simple, they are extremely important because many advanced concepts are built on the top of array. In this presentation we will cover what arrays are, why we use them, how to create arrays in Java, and their advantages and limitations. By the end of this presentation, you will have a clear understanding of how arrays work and why they are useful. So let's get started. First, introduction to array. An array is a data structure that allows us to store multiple values of same data in a single variable. This means instead of creating many separate variables, we can store all related values together in one place. For example, imagine you have marks of 5 students. If you don't use array, you will have to create 5 different variables. This becomes confusing and difficult to manage as number of students increases. But with arrays, we can store all marks in single variable. Another important concept in array is indexing. Each element in an array has a unique index number which helps us access it. And very important point, indexing always starts from 0, not from 1. So first element will be index 0, then second will be index 1, and so on. This indexing system makes accessing and managing data very efficiently. Now, why arrays are needed? Arrays are needed because they make data storage more structured and organized. Without arrays, we need multiple values, code becomes lengthy and repetitive, and managing data becomes difficult. For example, if we want to store marks of 100 students, creating 100 variables is not practical. With arrays, we can store all values in one variable. We can access any value using index, and we can process data easily using loops. Arrays also reduce chances of errors and make the code cleaner and readable. This is why arrays are widely used in almost every programming application. Now, array declaration. Before using an array, we first need to declare it. The general syntax for it is data type plus square bracket plus array name. Like example, int square bracket numbers. This statement tells the program that we are going to use an array of integers. However, at this stage, memory is not allocated. So declaration only defines the type and the name of the array. It's just the first step in using array. Now, array initialization. After declaration, the next step is initialization. Initialization means creating the array and assigning memory to it. In Java, we use the new keyword for this. Example, int square bracket numbers is equals to new int square bracket 5, then square bracket closed with semicolon. This creates an array that can store 5 integer values. Each element automatically gets a default value. For example, integers is 0, boolean, false, reference type, null. So after initialization, the array is ready to store actual data. Now assigning values. Once the array is created, we can assign values to it. Each value is stored at a specific index. Example, number square bracket 0 square bracket close is equals to 10, number 1 is equals to 2, number 1 is equals to 20, number 2 is equals to 30. Here 0 stores the first value, index 1 stores the second value, index 2 stores the third value, like so on. This process continues until the size of the array.
So now I am continuing from accessing arrays. To access elements from an array, we use index numbers. Each element is stored at a specific index, and by using that index, we can retrieve the value. For example, system.out.println number 0. This will print the first element of the array. Now, an important concept to understand here is how indexing works. Indexing always starts from 0, So if the size of array is 5, the indices will go from 0 to 4. That means first element index 0, last element index size -1. If we try to access an index beyond this range, the program will throw an error called array index out of bounds exception. This is one of the most common errors beginners face while working with arrays. So it is very important to always check the index before accessing elements. Another important thing is that accessing element in array is very fast. This is because arrays store element in continuous memory location. So the system can directly jump to the required index without checking other elements. This makes array very efficient when quick access is needed. In real-world scenarios, accessing element is used in displaying data, retrieving specific information, processing values in calculation. So understanding how to correctly access array elements is very important in programming. Now, next slide is using loop with arrays. Arrays are most commonly used together with loops, and the combination is extremely powerful when programming. The main reason for using loops with array is that array usually store multiple elements, and we often need to perform similar operation on all those elements. Instead of writing separate statement for each element, we can use a loop to automate the process. For example, imagine we have an array of marks of student. If we want to print all the marks one by one, writing separate printing statement for each value would make code very long and inefficient. This is where loops become very powerful. In Java, the most commonly used loop with arrays is the for loop. The for loop allows us to start from index 0 to go till last index of the energy. The general idea is we initialize a variable, usually I equal to 0. Then we set condition I less than array length, and after each iteration we increment I. This way the loop automatically accesses each element of the array. Now next slide is type of arrays. In Java, arrays are mainly two types: single dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. A single dimensional array stores elements in a single line. It is the simplest form of array and used when we need to store a list of values. For example, storing marks of student in one subject. We can access each element using a single index. On the other end, multidimensional arrays store data in rows and columns. It is like a table or matrix. For example, storing marks of multiple students is multiple subject. Here we need two indices, one for row, one for column. This allows us to represent complex data structures. Multidimensional arrays are widely used in matrix calculation, image processing, game development. This helps in representing real-world data in this structured format. So, depending on the requirement, we choose the type of array. Advantages of arrays. Arrays offer many advantages in programming. First, they provide efficient storage. Instead of using multiple variables, we can store large amount of data in a single structure. Second, arrays allow fast and direct access using index numbers. This makes them very useful when performance is important. Third, arrays work very well with loops. This makes it easy to process large data sets with minimal code. Fourth, arrays are used in many important algorithms such as sorting algorithm like bubble sort and selection sort, searching algorithm like linear search and binary search. Because of these features, arrays are widely used in real-world applications. They help in writing clean, efficient and organized code. Now, limitation of arrays. Although arrays are very useful, they also have some limitations. The first limitation is fixed size. Once an array is created, its size cannot be changed. This can be a problem if we don't know the exact amount of data in advance. The second limitation is that arrays can store only one type of data. For example, an integer array can only store integers. Third is that insertion and deletion operation are difficult. If we want to insert or delete an element, we may need to shift other elements. This makes an operation time consuming. Because of this limitation, more flexible data structures like array lists are often used. Array lists allow dynamic resizing and easier data manipulation. Now last, conclusion. To conclude, arrays are one of the most important concepts in Java programming. They allow us to store multiple values of the same type in a single variable. They provide efficient storage and fast access using index numbers. Arrays also work very well with loops, making data processing easier. Even though they have some limitation, they are still widely used in programming. They form the base for many advanced data structures. Understanding array is essential for learning more complex topics in programming. Arrays are foundation for many advanced data structures like array lists, stacks, and queues. So that's all. Thank you for listening.